There's a famous saying in the media world that if it bleeds, it leads. See, more often than not, the cameras are so busy focusing on the guy knocking someone to the ground that they miss the other 9 guys who rush in to help him up. Rarely do the peacemakers make the headlines, so today, that's what we're going to do. Because while it might not get 1 million views, after months of social distancing and now a week of watching our cities burn, highlighting the good is exactly what we need. The story of a black business owner went viral last week after a local news outlet showed the poor man sobbing as looters broke into his store and tried to steal what little he had left. Corboy Bala had poured his life savings into opening the Score sports bar in downtown Minneapolis. He was supposed to hold the grand opening in March, but that was delayed because of COVID. Then just days before finally opening up, rioters destroyed his business. And that could have easily been the end of that story. Except that it's Monday night. And as of right now, more than 31,000 people from all across the country have donated nearly $1 million to helping him rebuild. Every day since the riots began, volunteers of all ages, colors, and backgrounds have come together each morning to clean up the mess. Brian Irving, a truck driver, picked up his own pressure washer and spent 4 hours in downtown Houston washing off the graffiti.
I mean, we can protest, but we don't have to destroy our city. You know, that's what I'm protest, but you got to destroy the city. You know, so I mean, I can't go with that.
And he is not alone. An army of ordinary people who don't know each other from Adam brought brooms, trash bags, and scrub brushes to clean up Minneapolis, and Atlanta, and Seattle, and DC, Pittsburgh, Grand Rapids. I could go on all day. As the riots continued, a Center for Low-Income Housing put out a call for donations. They received so much food, the bags spilled out of the building, and they began handing it out to anyone who needed it. During the protests, hundreds gathered in Minneapolis to pray.
Bless your name. We thank you for this opportunity. We thank you for taking Brother Floyd to heaven with you.
In Louisville, a weeping black woman stood in the middle of the street hugging a police officer for nearly a minute. In Washington, D.C., a group of protesters saw a white Antifa agitator vandalizing a sidewalk, tackled him to the ground, and dragged him over to a line of cops. In L.A., a police officer got separated from his unit. A group of protesters surrounded him and formed a barrier to protect him from those calling for violence. In Brooklyn, people formed a human chain in front of a Target to keep looters from breaking in. George Floyd's own brother has taken to social media to beg for peace.
I just had to come down here, you know, to speak to people and let people know that just channel your anger elsewhere. Don't tear up your town. All of this is not necessary, because if his own family and blood is not doing it, then why are you?
This doesn't negate the looting and the violence and the absolute gutter trash behavior that we're seeing on a nightly basis, but it does offer a glimmer of hope in what can easily feel like overwhelming darkness. So here's to all the people, black, white, and otherwise, who are going to wake up tomorrow morning and go scrub graffiti off the walls in their city streets. Here's to the thousands of people who've donated to help rebuild businesses that have been destroyed, who've given food to help those in need. To those who've stood guard in front of stores defending them against looters, who've rushed in to help those who've been assaulted and beaten and ripped from their cars. Here's to the protesters and the cops and the community leaders who've linked arms with one another, gotten down on their knees, and prayed for one another. Here's to the millions of rational Americans who reject the notion that every black person is a criminal, that every white person is a bigot, and that every cop is a pig. To all those who refuse to be baited into a race war because a pundit on some news channel started lumping people into categories because it lands them a headline, or because some celebrity sitting in their McMansion somewhere wanted a few more Instagram followers. Here's to the ordinary people whose names we will never know who are making a difference. Here's to the peacemakers. We see you. And that's your Reality Check, America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, that you like us on Facebook and Twitter, and do good out there.